I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. So Don Lemon got slammed by one of America's top late night talk show hosts. I mean, this was a kick in the teeth or kick in the junk, if you will. Mr. Engineer, do we have that clip? This is, and I could not be more, if you will, happy or surprised to see this happen to Don Lemon. Go ahead and roll that clip, Mr. Engineer.
Could you show what he was wearing? There you go. Oh. I believe a great man once said, "What the is that?"
So look, I love Stephen Colbert. I think he's funny. Obviously, I love comedians to have a little leeway. It was interesting. I didn't expect that reaction. For me, it was sort of like a Rorschach test about wearing that outfit. And people thought, first of all, it's not a sweatshirt or whatever. It was a sweater that had a hood on it. Anyways, I don't know. I don't know if I want to get into it because I was actually really surprised by it. Look, Stephen, here's the thing that I make lots of different outfit choices, right?
Yeah.
And when I took this job, one of the things was we want you to relax and be more comfortable and sort of go with what is happening in the world right now. People aren't wearing suits as much. Lots has changed since the pandemic, right? So I just found it interesting that there was such a reaction because online I got a lot of negative reaction. But hold on.
But that's online. You always get negative.
I got negative reaction, but I just want to say that a lot has changed. I think if Barack Obama can get criticized for a tan suit, if Volodymyr Zelensky can fight a war in a hoodie, if Trayvon Martin can start a revolution in a hoodie, then Don Lemon can tell the news in a hoodie.
I think Stephen Colbert was right to take a shot at Don Lemon because hoodies are generally, because of Trayvon Martin, are generally considered a sort of the Afro statement of anti-white. You know, black men wear hoodies. In fact, a graduate of mine, I graduated from Union Theological Seminary, pastor of a major church here in New York City, began wearing hoodies in the pulpit after Trayvon Martin had been shot. He made hoodies very famous. I don't wear them for that very same reason. Not only that, but hoodies, even before Trayvon Martin, it's sort of a gangster. You put it on, it's a sweatshirt, it is a sweatshirt, and you put it over your head, and it kind of disfigures you. It gives you a dark appearance. I don't like them. I don't like seeing people wear them. I think it's like, for me, a hoodie is a Ku Klux Klan with a white veil on his face. I think the Ku Klux Klan wear white hoodies as a symbol of racial speech. That's my estimation. That a Klansman wearing a veil, a white veil, is a statement of racial speech. And I think hoodies are a statement of racial speech. Now, Trevor Noah wears them too on The Daily Show. I thought it was pretty dumb of him to do that, but, they do that and they figure they can get away with it. But I'm glad Stephen Colbert called Don Lemon out. That's an extreme position. That's an extreme wardrobe. Don Lemon is right that the dress codes now, in many instances, business attire is more leisure, and a large number of people have chosen not to wear neckties anymore, just a decent shirt, and they wear a jacket, but tie is a little bit more formal. I'm going to continue to wear my neckties, as I've stated before. I'm not going to go casual. I also noticed that the design of clothing today is that men wear pants that are very tight around the ankle. I mean, it's almost like so tight you can barely squeeze your, and we're talking about suits. We're talking about Armani, Gucci, Hickey Freeman's, Zegna, Polo, Ralph Lauren, Oxford suits that are tight around, I don't know about Oxford or Ralph Lauren, but the suits are so tight around the ankles, and that's the new style. Well, I remember the bell bottoms. I remember back in the 60s and 70s, the bell bottoms, they're called bell bottoms because they came down and got so big at one point. And that was a fad for like 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 years. And after that, the bell bottoms went away. And the regular cut of a man's suit, based on the size of his waist and his thighs, began to dominate again. And dominated until just recently. So the regular cut of a man's suit jacket and his slacks dominated from the mid-70s until the year 2017 or there or so about. So for more than 50 years, the dominant style, this casual dress, very tight short jackets and very tight pants around the leg, it'll go. In another year or two, it'll be gone, and the regular size, because it's uncomfortable for a man's body. It's just very uncomfortable to have a pair of pants that tight around your waist, a jacket that's short around your body. It looks stylish, but it's extremely important. So let me cover that. But let me cover a larger story about CNN. They are hemorrhaging viewers like you won't believe. I don't know how much CNN has money in the bank to continue to try to do global news coverage, but I don't think they have enough to last another 2-3 years. They're going to be off the scene. And probably MSNBC as well, and so potentially Fox may go also. And I want to read an article here that was written about CNN, with Don Lemon being the center of it. As you know, they're now trying to catch up with Fox News, with Fox and Friends, and MSNBC Morning Joe. It says CNN's Don Lemon-centered morning show suffered steady viewership decline through 3 months. CNN this morning shed 18% of its tiny November audience during the first month of 2023. CNN's morning show centered around Don Lemon has been a steady ratings decline through its first 3 months, shedding additional views from the audience each time the calendar flips. CNN's This Morning, an assembly morning program featuring Lemon, Poppy Harlow, Caitlin Collins, officially replaced the long-struggling Newsday on November 1. The new program was the brainchild of CNN CEO Chris Light, who previously had morning show success at both MSNBC and CBS, and his longtime lieutenant Rayan Cadro, who once succeeded Light as an executive producer of the CNN of CBS This Morning. So in November, CNN This Morning averaged an underwhelming 454,000 total viewers. The following month, it managed only 389,000 in December. CNN This Morning then dropped to 373,000 average viewers in January, shedding 18% of November's audience. They're not long for this, for media, CNN in general. In fact, I'm noticing now they're trying to run a lot of promotions about Africa, the voices of Africa, the music of Africa, business in Africa, etc. Everywhere you kind of look now, they're pushing African voices and African economics into their mixture of news programming, along with some world sports, I suppose trying to get another audience. I don't see that working. I see CNN. Ultimately, MSNBC is going to go. MSNBC has been able to survive as quietly as it's kept, and as much as I regret having to say this, off of the strength of Al Sharpton. Listen, when they hired Al Sharpton, it brought a lot of black people and who trust Al Sharpton to MSNBC, and then they've got this woman who, well, her looks, let's not discuss them, named Simone, who comes on the weekends before Al Sharpton. She comes on at 4 o'clock. She is a huge woman with just as much huge ego about her. And she got a lot of confidence, Simone does. And then, of course, I think with Rachel Maddow, one of the stars, if not the singular star of MSNBC, well, somehow or another was able to get a small-time reporter named Joy Reid into a spot that was held by one of the premier broadcasters on MSNBC, and now she holds that very prestigious 7 o'clock spot is now been held by Joy Reid. So they've got a lot more. Then they got Jonathan Capehart on the weekend, and they've got a bunch of other folk intermingle in the process of MSNBC. So they're able to maintain a large segment of black folk where CNN was primarily going at just Japheth people, and whatever stragglers came along as black folk, they would take them. But I don't see either one of these networks working. Simone just started about 2 months ago. She's very flamboyant. She's brimming with, if you will, self-confidence, Simone, and probably a whole lot of other things as well, and some of the very provocative outfits that she wears would have men watching whether they're listening or not. They certainly are watching. Maybe they're not listening, but they sure enough. Anyway, so I think that what we're seeing in media today is a change of the dynamics in media. And I'm looking at what we do in terms of media as well. I've got a core audience. I'm pretty much like Donald Trump or Tribulation Trump. I've got a core audience. My audience is not going to go anywhere. They're just not going to, whether I put on a tie, take off a tie. I'm not going to take off a tie because I came to the party this way, and I'm going to stay in the party. Now, occasionally I'll wear a sweater, or I'll wear a V-neck, or I'll wear a shirt with a vest and a tie. But I'm not going casual, because 3 years from now, that'll be gone. That will be gone. Like the bell bottoms. Listen, I go you one better. During the year of the bell bottoms, there was a thing called the miniskirt. Woo! Ha! Lord have mercy. The miniskirt. And everybody and their brother, I think, they became very prominent. I don't know if y'all remember Sonny and Cher singers and the Turtles and the Birds and the Beach Boys, the miniskirt. They were everywhere. Every woman had on them. Even grandma was wearing a miniskirt. And they lasted for about 7 years. Then after that, they had the maxi skirt. Not the miniskirt, just below a woman's buttocks, just slightly below a woman's buttocks. And then after that, they had the maxi skirt. The maxi skirt went all the way down, and they're just fads. The tight pants and short jackets that men are wearing now, it's just fads. It'll go, and people will return to regular, comfortable suits and dresses. So I'm not going to get into swinging back and forth, trying. So, but sorry, my audience is concerned, and I have considered a large number of things as well. I certainly not going to change what I preach. I know that probably with my background in education and structure, I could do a watered down version of religion and become very wealthy, but I wouldn't be very healthy and I wouldn't be very happy. And moreover, my God would not look at me. The Soul Children were a group of 2 men and 2 women put together by Isaac Hayes. And Isaac Hayes was a great pianist and, great soloist, great songwriter. In the song by the Soul Children, that there was a line where the woman singing says, and everybody's so ashamed of me, and my mama tells me, find somewhere else to eat. That's how ashamed everybody was of her in that song by Soul Children. I forget the name of the particular title. Soul Children. If you've never listened to the Soul Children, if you want to know what Isaac Hayes, who was extraordinary, Isaac Hayes was wrote the song Shaft. He appeared with that great football player on a stage with a fur coat on, and Isaac Hayes, just a tremendous musician. But if you want to know what Isaac Hayes sounds like and an expanded version of him, check out the Soul Children. They are just a great group. So anyway, I'm going to stay true to who I am. I'm not going to let the times change me from the reality of truth. And I want to say thank you to my audience, the people that stay with me through the thick and thin. They come every day. And it is not as large as it used to be, mainly because I've dumped Trump. And I understand that. I understand that clearly. And I will not feed into that audience. But at any rate, I think it's important that we recognize that CNN is on its way out. And maybe, the Manning Report will replace it. Who knows? Who knows?